What up, YouTube? Welcome back to When Nice Guys Retaliate. Tonight we're going to talk about an interesting topic, and I guess you could say it's more along the lines of determining the type of woman, what woman is good as far as being in her life, or trying to be in her life. And this is along the topic of promiscuous women. If I had to give a title, it would be called basically Nice Guys, A Tale of Two Prostitutes. And this is based off of two biblical stories. One was about Ahab. What is her name? Basically, it's when Joshua was going into the Promised Land, and there was a prostitute in one of the first cities that they were going to take over. And then the second prostitute was a guy had told him to marry a prostitute, and his name is Hosea. And so I'm going to try to do like a little contrast between the two, because I think it kind of coincides with modern dating and marriage. Because there's I think a lot of nice guys are in a situation where they can support more women than other types of men, or they're more willing to support women who are not necessarily considered top tier, or let's just say in the best situation to marry. And so when you're dealing with promiscuous women, you have at least two different types of promiscuous women. We got the one who's ready and the one who's not ready. The first is the woman, I think her name's like Rahab or Ahab or something like that. But she was basically a prostitute in a city that Israel is about to take over. And they had two spies, I believe it was two spies, went into the city to kind of scope it out to see what was going on. And while they were there, a prostitute, she actually knew who they were. She knew their reputation as far as the country of Israel, that a guy was bringing them out of Egypt. And basically that they were dangerous, that their country was a potential target. And obviously, since the spies were there, it was a definite target. And so Ahab, I'm probably messing up her name, she was like, hey, I know who you are. Hey, I want to help you out. And so what she did is she hid the spies, and she made sure that her countrymen didn't find them. Not only that, she secured safe passage for not only her, but also her family. And as long as they followed the instructions of the Israelites, they were going to be safe. And so she did all this, and long story short, she survived. She survived. Her family who obeyed the instructions survived, and they became a part of Israel. And I believe she went on to get married as well, and she might be along the lines of Jesus. She might be one of the kinfolk of Jesus. And so the second lady, she was married to Hosea, and she was basically a promiscuous woman, prostitute. And so she had a mentality that Hosea was a good guy, but for some reason, even though he was taking care of her, doing what he was supposed to do, and taking care of the kids, she did not want to be with him. She wanted to be in the streets and do what she wanted to do. She had a certain type of man that she longed for, and she went out there and chased after him. these certain types of men, many more than one. So, long story short, this woman got done so wrong by the men that she wanted that she actually got sold into, she was about to get sold into slavery. And so she was on the selling block when Hosea came up there, and he actually had to purchase his own wife from somebody else because of the situation she had put herself into. Which is ironic, because I think a lot of times you have modern women nowadays, they go into debt for, getting the education and stuff like that, trying to prove that they don't need anybody. So the first woman illustrates, if there's a type of woman who's promiscuous, and even though her lifestyle is a negative, and she knows it's a negative, not only she knows it's a negative, she's also not ignorant of world, things that are happening to the world. This woman has situational awareness. She has the ability to plan, and not only does she plan, she is looking for an opportunity to escape her situation. So she is not in her situation necessarily by choice, but she's in her situation by circumstance, we'll just say. But the thing is her mindset isn't to stay in that situation. And so even though she's a promiscuous woman, she's a prostitute, she's making her living in a way to survive, she is open, willing, and able. And not only able, she is willing to be obedient in a situation where she will get under the protection of a man, a good man, and stay there. She will follow him out of her bad situation. And then you have this other woman. She, even though she's being protected, she's been provided for, her kids are being provided for, she may have everything she needs, she willingly gets out of her husband's protection. She takes her own life into her own hand to make her own decisions, even though she may not have any proof. She don't have any proof. She don't have any commitment from the man that she wants. And the man she don't want, that wants her, is providing all the proof and backing up his word to make sure she's protected and taken care of. But she still runs away from this man to try to find these other guys that she thinks that she wants. And not only that, she is so dedicated to these guys that she actually gets herself into debt that she can't even pay off, which leads her into slavery. All right? Potentially into slavery. Because of her own decisions, because she knows everything. Can't nobody tell her what to do. She don't need a man. She don't need the protection of a man. But this woman digs herself into a ditch. And there's only one man. There may be only one man in her entire life that she may know that actually is willing to actually buy her out of that situation, to get her out of that situation. Take her home and then still love her, despite what she's done. But this is a contrast between two different types of women who are promiscuous. And it's very important for you as a nice guy to understand, or at least see the characteristics that define the differences between these two women. One woman looks for the opportunity to get out of her situation. The other woman, she uses that situation to help her get back into this bad situation she wants to be in. She tries to escape. She does not look for your protection. She doesn't want your protection. And if she does say she wants your protection, she circumvents your protection by making herself vulnerable to other men. Whereas a woman in the city with Joshua, this woman, she took advantage of this circumstance that brought her out of the situation. Her situation, she was ready, willing, and able to get out of that situation. And when the opportunity presented itself, she was willing to sacrifice her own safety. She was willing to sacrifice her family. She was willing to sacrifice her finances. She was willing to sacrifice her national identity. She was willing to sacrifice being ostracized in a new community just to save herself and her family and escape that situation that she was in that caused her to be a prostitute or a promiscuous woman. So a woman that is promiscuous is not always bad, and she is not always good, but you got to know the difference. A woman who is promiscuous that is really and truly going to be worth your time will sacrifice her. She's willing to sacrifice herself for you to be with you. Whereas a woman who is not good for you, she's willing to sacrifice you, her kids, her life, everything to be with a man that more than likely ain't no good for her. And so hopefully this kind of gives you an idea, and I hope you go into the Bible and read these two stories. Basically, if you look in the book of Joshua, you'll find the first story about the prostitute that Joshua helped Joshua and Israel take over that particular land. And the other book, I believe, is called Hosea, and it's further toward the back of the Bible or the end of the Old Testament. But I would encourage you to read over those two stories if you want to kind of get more facts and details. But what I told you is basically the cliff notes, so to speak, of that situation. And hopefully it'll kind of give you an idea of the woman to choose as opposed to the woman not to choose. But it's very important that you don't let your desire, your loneliness lead you. Don't let your desire to have sex lead you. You must have a competent mindset when you're looking for a woman, a wife. Because a wife can either be an asset or she can be a nightmare. And that's the purpose of this video, is to kind of help you discern between the two. But that's what happens when nice guys retaliate. Hope you guys take care.